We have funded so much time with these fleas, and now it is time to see it. So please welcome to the stage Cthulhu as we play Hollow Knight Silksong. And get ready with us because we will be saying Awoo!
Awoo! Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on here. I am Cthulhu. I am a Hollow Knight Silksong speedrunner and a Hollow Knight speedrunner. I have with me on the mic here someone you may have some familiarity with over the past couple of runs. It is one Quacksilver. If you want
Surprise! You thought I'd left, you fools, you absolute rubes. Hi.
You can never, in fact, get rid of her. All right, we are going to jump into a run, and thank you so much for already meeting the Flea Games incentive. It was met before we even started the run. In fact, before even the previous run started. But we are so close to 50K, chat, and I really hope that we can see that met during this run. But we are going to be saving all of the fleas here today. We are running Awoo %, objectively the best Silksong category, and I'm going to get started. So I'll count it down for you. We're going to start from a new game in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck, man.
Good luck.
Thank you. Yeah, and let me talk a little bit about the speed run here. So Awoo % is a run that the goal is to save all of the fleas. We do not care about beating the game. Many enjoyers of Quack's Make Your Own Victory may be heartened to hear that, but the run will end when we get the Egg of Flealia, which is the reward for saving all of the fleas and then moving them to their lovely paradise called Fleatopia. There is one extra thing to do in Fleatopia in the very late game that is not normally part of this run, but it was part of an added incentive, which was already met. So we will be showcasing the Flea Games at the end of this run, and I'm very excited for that. The Flea Games are extremely cute, somewhat difficult at times, but a lot of fun.
Yeah, if you don't mind me issuing a challenge early on our climb to 50K, I want to see people donate with their flea game scores. I want to know who is actually cracked at these mini games and who got incredibly tilted by flea dodge and never touched it since at Quacksilver.
Yep, I am definitely in that camp, except for the fact that I need to do the Flea Games every time I do a 100% run, but that's okay. The Flea Games definitely are going to be an excellent addition to the Awoo % run. We would have it in the run normally if it didn't take so much extra work to get there. But let me talk a little bit about the movement we're doing here in the very beginning. You may notice I am spamming the pogo attack, the downward strike, the airborne downward strike. This is faster than normal movement. Oh, I am going to grab a safety here. 1 second. Just walking is pretty slow, and it is significantly faster to repeatedly pogo like this. You're going to see this basically the entire run until I get the dash ability, so tune on in. It's very, very exciting. The diagonal pogo will have several other uses later in the run, but for the first, we are using it for speed. Moscardo is pretty simple. Luckily, we have one, I almost said mini boss, and that's sort of accurate. One actual boss at the end, which is Moss Mother. She doesn't pose much of a challenge, but can be a little bit annoying to us. So we're gonna go for a pretty quick kill setup. It's very consistent, except when you're running a marathon. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, we're gonna basically be doing this pogo movement. There are 2 variants of it, which you'll see me use sometimes. Optimally, I'm actually also going neutral when I hit the ground, which actually allows me to pogo more frequently by not... oh, that was very strange. She stayed on the right side. I've literally never seen that, but it was faster, so we'll take it. Anyway, by going neutral when I hit the ground, I can actually start a new pogo sooner. So you're going to see me doing that most of the time. In other scenarios, I will just jump a little bit higher and try to make the pogo end before I reach the ground. If I fail it, you'll see me just hit the ground and kind of stop. Pretend that that's fast. You'll see that plenty. But yeah, that was Mouse Mother, and legitimately, I've never seen that before.
You can't get it out too early. People will say it's scripted.
It's true, Quack. This is a fairly new game, but it is one of the most popular speed games on SRC right now. There are hundreds of active Silksong speedrunners. Most of them run boring categories, pointless categories, stuff like any percent, things that you wouldn't think of as something that would be important to speedrun. But luckily, there are many, many Awoo percent runners as well. Shoutouts to the meme speedrunners in the Silksong community. It's a thriving community and a very, very fun one to be a part of. Awoo percent is probably, well, it's certainly one of my favorite categories. Certainly my favorite in this sort of time range, which is under 2 hours long. It's not short by any means. It's about an hour and a half long, but it is a lot of fun. We get to see a ton of the game. We get to explore all sorts of different areas, and above all, of course, we get to save the fleas. Now, I have a self-imposed rule when it comes to Awoo percent, which is that I listen to the Awoos when I save the fleas. So you're going to see me occasionally just completely stopping and listening to an Awoo. That is, technically speaking, world record strats, so keep that in mind.
That is time save, actually.
I'm glad you're not being humble about this. My man here has the world record in Awoo percent with making sure every flea's voice is heard. This is a marathon about community. Get in here.
Absolutely.
Speaking of community, can I share real quick a new milestone that just opened?
Oh, please.
Oh, absolutely.
As we continue to support the community of Minneapolis, we have a milestone open to get the Master Sword in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. We need $55,401 for that. That is the zip code of downtown Minneapolis. Chat, I know we're eyeing that 50,000. Let's go beyond that. Let's continue raising money for the Women's Foundation of Minnesota's Immigrant Rapid Response Fund. I know that we can do it. Just like this $50 donation from Nicole that says Awoo is short for fuck ice.
True.
Absolutely. We can verify that ourselves here. That is an incredible milestone. We are so close to 50,000, and I really would love to see that get met, and this next milestone as well.
Yeah, as we move to 55401 for Minneapolis, this early game before we get dash is like slower than having dash. So I don't think 50K is too far off. I want to see if we can hit 50K by the time we save the first flea. I want to celebrate 50K with an Awoo.
We have a couple of minutes before we get there, probably about 6 or 7 minutes, so get those donations in for sure.
You're just over $25 away from 49,000, so let's get on it, chat.
All right, so I had to focus for a moment, but we did get the Bell Beast phase skip there. That is a little bit tricky. I dealt exactly enough damage to get the Bell Beast one hit away from the phase transition, and then dealt as much damage as I could on the last attack, and then during the phase transition, that skipped about half of that fight. So that's a pretty big skip on the first real boss of the run. Moss Mother doesn't really count. And it saves about 15 or 20 seconds, which does matter in a category even of this length. Yeah, after fighting Bell Beast, we have this lovely little Silk Heart cutscene. This at least is pretty straightforward, but it does take a moment. So if there's anything you want to share about the charity, Jess, feel free to use this time for that.
Absolutely. I do want to share this $10 donation from Sunev that says, I'm donating for freeing the flea trapped in the ice. You know, in Mount Faye. Which of the fleas does chat want to see freed? So I would like to challenge chat. I believe we do not have official names for these fleas in the math universe. Therefore, please donate for every flea that we save, and please suggest names for us so that we can refer to them properly by their names as we go forward.
This is true. I do not have personalized names for the fleas. Each flea in my heart is named Awoo, but...
All right, I'm pulling up a notepad file. Chat, if you donate, I'll write them down.
You have the chance to christen each and every one of these fleas, chat. It's the perfect opportunity.
We did also have a $25 donation from Ixzy that says, "Good luck, have fun, saving all the fleas, Cthulhu. Awoo!"
Awoo!
And $25 from Awoo that says, "No fascist USA."
Amazing. All right, so the next segment here is the last pre-dash segment. We are past the Bell Beast, which unlocked most of the rest of the marrow. And we have to go through here in order to pick up the long-awaited dash ability, and more importantly, save our first flea. So we have a couple more minutes before we save that first flea. But consider, what do you want to name that flea, chat? You have the power in your hands. This section is really more of the same pogo movement. There are a couple of small skips that I'm doing here and there, mostly involving pogoing an enemy to skip a platform or two, but nothing too significant. The early game is fairly straightforward here. Yo, we hit 49K, I'm seeing. Keep it going, chat.
We did, with the help of a $300 donation from Serenity that says, "Thank you, Math, and everyone else who has made this event happen and participated in chat. You all are incredible humans, and your support means so much." Thank you so much for your generous donation towards the Women Foundation of Minnesota's Immigrant Rapid Response Fund. All of this money is going to helping them do work on the ground in the Twin Cities.
Incredible kindness from this community, and just once again, huge shout outs to the organizers, the runners, everyone that's done work behind the scenes for this marathon. It was put together so quickly, and the outpouring of support has been incredible to see. All right, we're moving here to the first arena that we'll be seeing in the game, and with most of the arenas, we have some kind of script that we try to follow, but sometimes the enemies are a little bit random and don't like to behave. Luckily, this first ant arena is pretty deterministic, but we'll see some trouble with some arenas later. In particular, one I like to call the Aflina, which is the final arena to save one of the last fleas locked in the deep docks, but we'll be struggling with that arena in probably about an hour. All right, so this is picking up the Swift Step ability. This is the dash. We finally are getting it. You will see the end of the pogo movement and the introduction of the pogo dash movement. The pogo turns out to still be useful. We can cancel our pogo with a dash, and I will be using that. It is significantly faster than just dashing or sprinting until we pick up the Silk Speed anklets. So we'll be doing that for a while. Awoo! And there's our first flea.
One down, 29 to go.
That first flea is named Ariex. Thank you, $25. Awoo!
Awoo! I'm so excited to finally have names for all these fleas.
I'm keeping track. Ariex, thank you.
All right, so now that we have dash, the run will speed up a bit. I am going to almost immediately save a second flea here, so we'll see if we had time. Awoo! We'll see if we had time for
$10 from Spixie the Dragon. Can one flea be named Bartholomew?
Ooh. Incredible. All right, we have a couple of minutes before the next one.
I'm taking specific positional notes. We will keep math honest about this.
Excellent. All right, so now we have the next major boss that we're going to fight in this run. Awoo percent is honestly a pretty light on combat run, but there is a lot of combat in the first half of the run. I'm going to heal because somehow in my last marathon run of Awoo percent, I managed to die to Lace 1, and I'd prefer not to do that here today.
Never happen again, Smile.
Oh, absolutely never. Okay, so there's Lace 1. There are multiple fights with Lace in this game. This is the last we're going to be fighting her. We will see her briefly, but the beautiful thing about not needing to finish the game is we don't really need to care about the story beyond a certain point here. So, Lace, we see you, and we love you, and we'll be only talking with you later. Yes, there will be an exam after the run, so please do everyone take notes on all of the various flea names. We have the next one coming up in just a minute here. We're heading into Far Fields, where there is a trapped flea that we are going to rescue. And it is right here. Awoo!
Oh!
That flea is named Illegally Sam, $176. Woo!
Awoo! So most of the early flea collection here is focused on getting to 5 fleas. And the reason for that is that will be our way to progress out of the initial areas. There's a few dev-intended ways to get out of the beginning. The first one would be to get the Drifter's Cloak and head up to Greymoor. The second would be to go through the Wormways with a simple key, which would take 500 rosaries. And the last and clearly best option is to save 5 fleas and then travel with them on their flea caravan. One other self-imposed rule I have for Awoo percent is that we will be watching all of the flea caravan cutscenes. They are adorable, and you will understand why I refer to them as unskippable cutscenes. So
You didn't have to spoil the magic. I was prepared to say these cutscenes are unskippable. SMH.
I'm sorry, Quack. Legally speaking, you will not see them skipped here, so... Oh no. We do have a small mini-boss in our way. I like to call this boy Flam the Boyant. He is a bit notorious for killing runs that come to Hunter's March early, and in casual playthroughs, if you came to Hunter's March early before getting Dash, you probably had a run-in with this guy. Luckily with Dash, he's not too bad. But all his attacks deal double damage, and we have only 5 health at the start here. Alright, this is the last we'll see of Hunter's March, luckily. We have exactly one thing to do here, and that is save this flea. Awoo!
That flea is named Flea, like Lee, but with an F at the beginning, as donated by Fletcher with $10 towards the Immigrant Rapid Response Fund.
Incredible.
Amazing.
Thank you all for these donations. All right, we've got another flea coming up in just a second. We're at 4 fleas so far. This will be flea number 5, which will get us our ticket out of the marrow and out of the early game. Awoo! Just making sure to get our full Awoos in.
That flea's name is Nina. It says $5. Fuck ice.
So true.
Fuck ice. All right, so now we get to take the caravan out of the marrow. This will take us directly to where Morwing normally is. That is an early game boss that causes a lot of trouble in casual playthroughs. By taking the flea caravan there, the fleas kick him out somehow. It's wonderful. So we don't have to fight Morwing at all in this run. It is possible, if you do this casually, to fight Morwing somewhere else later, but we will not be doing that either. Now here is the unskippable cutscene. And I just want you all to enjoy this, and then ask yourselves, what kind of a person would skip such a cutscene?
I know I was pushing hard. in Super Mario Maker for kill the Yoshi, save the time, but I forgot that I was going to be on comms for this, and yeah, actually losing time for cute things is important, y'all. I'm recanting my ways. I'm so sorry, Jar.
All right. That's what I was hoping for, Quack. I was going to call you out right there. I was going to say, I remember that I'm on the mic here with one Quacksilver who was pushing so hard to murder Yoshi just a couple of hours ago.
It's fine. They're different games. My conscience is clear. Let's hit $50,000.
All right, so after
close
that
to 50,000.
Oh, we really are. Yeah. Come on, chat. We can do it. We can absolutely do it. So after that cutscene, we picked up a very important item, which is Flea Brew. It is our first and only tool that we'll be picking up in this run. Oh, that pawn catcher is being very rude to me. That's okay. No, it's not okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're fine. We're fine. Flea Brew is a very, very useful tool for this run for a number of reasons. The first reason is that it lets us go fast. So the main use of Flea Brew is it speeds you up, both in terms of movement speed, but also in terms of attack speed. So it's useful in a couple of scenarios for us. I'm a little low on Silk because I healed, so I have to be slightly careful here. Okay, but importantly, it will also work as an air stall, so we can use Flea Brew in the air, and it stops our momentum. And we're going to be using that in a few different locations in order to do a couple of relatively big skips, mostly in the first half of the run before we get wings. So we'll be seeing a lot of that. But that is the only tool we're going to be getting here in this run. We don't need any of them to save the fleas, but Flea Brew does help us do it a bit faster.
Yeah, and if you've ever speedrun Hollow Knight or Silksong or played Hollow Knight's randomizer, you probably, your ears perked up at air stall, and yes, it's exactly that busted.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, and there are some pretty crazy skips that can be done with Flea Brew. Awoo!
Oh!
That is
what's the flea's name?
Number 6.
That flea is named Mother. $100 donation from Mother, no comment. And also we just reached $50,000 raised for the Immigrant Rapid Response Fund.
Let's go!
Incredible work, chat.
Fuck ice. Amazing. All right, so there I did a skip that is called the Gadama skip or the Sister Splinter skip. It skips an entire boss, Sister Splinter. We haven't seen that boss since release patch, so you know, no one's really sure if she's still there. But oh no, I missed my pogo. We have to do this again.
You were slandering
okay.
Sister Splinter.
I deserve that. That's okay. But yes, that skip has been known for quite a while, and it is one of my favorite skips, honestly. We just lure that enemy over and pogo them to completely skip a boss. All right, so now we got our next major movement ability. This is called Cling Grip, which is our wall jump ability.
You will almost certainly hear one of me or Math, if not both of us, refer to it as Claw, because the wall jump in Hollow Knight was called Mantis Claw. I have seen Silksong runners who have never touched Hollow Knight call it Claw. That is how, like, it's stuck in our ways the community is. It's beautiful.
Absolutely. I managed to lose 5 rosaries there, and normally that doesn't matter, but I think it actually might with my backup bench rosary route, so I'm going to get some extra rosaries in a second here. But yeah, there are a lot of things that took a long time to come over from Hollow Knight to Silksong terminology. Awoo!
Oh!
Oh no, I waited a little bit too long there. That's
that one is Jamie the Bunny, $100. Awoo!
Awoo!
I assume that's Bunny, B-N-U-U-Y.
Yes, of course.
Thank you, Quack, for keeping track of these. I will need a full list after the run.
I'll post this on the internet, TBH.
All right, so this is our next boss. This is Widow. Widow is amazing. If you don't love her just from her introduction, which is to scream, then I don't know what you love, honestly. So Widow is incredible. This fight can be a little bit hectic, but it is a lot of fun and is definitely one of my favorite fights, especially because you're effectively forced to do this with little equipment, because Widow actually blocks the ability to upgrade your needle. So we'll be getting a needle upgrade right after Widow, but see, just look at that, chat. Tell me that that's not beautiful and perfect. There's a bit of tech that I'm using occasionally, which is to do this dash strike into a second hit. I'm going to be careful here. We're going to take a heal. There's that, and also a different version where I will do a slash and then dash and then slash again. Those two bits of combat tech are going to be used all throughout the run. They allow us to get a second hit off on low or no cooldown. So keep an eye out for that. But that is the Widow fight, and it's our last boss for a little while. We have a nice long memory here that we need to go through in order, well, not actually in order to get the needle in. We're granted it right here, but we're forced into this cutscene regardless. So this is a good moment if you have any donations you want to read for us, Jess.
I do have a couple of donations. We had our previous runner, Supersonic, donate $10 saying, "Y'all are amazing. Much love to the strong and real ones out there. Fuck ICE. Fuck DHS. Fuck fascism."
Fuck
We also
fascism.
had $30 and $100 come in from Anonymous with no comment. Thank you so much for your generosity as we continue raising money for the Immigrant Rapid Response Fund, which is directly funding organizations in the Twin Cities metro area and greater Minnesota for working to support basic needs, legal services, and mobilization and organization. For more information, you can use !charity in chat to learn about the work the Women's Foundation of Minnesota does.
Thank you for that. Yeah, absolutely. Fuck ICE, fuck fascism, and thank you all for the donations that have been pouring in, over 50K, well on our way to that next milestone, and you absolutely love to see it.
Yeah, 55401, chat. Don't forget it.
All right, so next we are going to be grabbing a needle upgrade. We have a little bit of combat left in the run, but actually not all that much. But the needle upgrade almost doubles our needle damage, so it is still worth it. After that, we get to head back and pick up the Drifter's Cloak, which, if we hadn't taken the fleas to Greymoor, we would have grabbed the Drifter's Cloak in order to come up to Greymoor through Farfields instead. That's the way that most casual players go, but you'll see for a couple of reasons, we wait until after we have the needle in order to do that. And the main one there is the Silk Speed anklets. So anklets are going to be extremely helpful for us. They will basically just make us go faster. This is a speed run after all, even if you can be forgiven for getting it while we're saving the fleas. But yeah, beating Widow actually saves the town of Bellhart, and this becomes a pretty major hub for the mid-game. We will not really be seeing much of Bellhart at all. We're here for really only one purpose, and that is to grab our needle upgrade. Saving Bellhart is also required to go through the last judge, which we'll be using to get to Act 2. But as soon as we have everything we need to save every flea, we are done with absolutely everyone else in the entire game. Our only focus is to save all of the fleas here, and we will be singular in that approach. We do need to pop a couple of rosary necklaces here, and I should be good on rosaries. All right, so we're going to be using a Bellway here. This is the fast travel system in Silksong. Earlier, we beat the Bell Beast. The Bell Beast is a lovely, lovely, lovely friend named Aira, who we will be taking all over the place in Awoo percent. This is a run where we do need to do a lot of map exploration, and the fast travel is absolutely essential to that. We'd be running wild over the map without the benefit of the Bell Beast. There looks suspiciously like a boss arena, and you might think that we'll be facing a boss there later, but you would actually be wrong. In a couple of minutes, you'll see what I mean. So this area is the Drifter's Cloak area. We talked to the seamstress here. She gives us a little bit of a fetch quest, which is to go farm flexile spines. This is going to give us an upgrade to our cloak. We are focused on getting really all of the movement upgrades that are accessible in the game. We do need cloak in order to save a couple of fleas. And in particular, we also need it to pick up wings, which are required for a couple of fleas. So we'll be doing a little bit of flexile spine harvesting here for the next minute or two. One thing to keep in mind that we learned only recently is that with Needle-In, you can actually play the Needle-In, and it causes these guys to shoot their spines at you.
Sorry, what? This
yes.
is news to me. Excuse me?
Quack, we went like 3 months of speedrunning this game, and nobody thought to check this. You can just play the Needle-In.
God, speedrunners are the best.
It's so funny to me, and I really, really love it. Those hokers used to be a nightmare because they only take 3 hits to kill, and we thought you had to hit them in order to get their spines. So it was an RNG fest, how many spines they were going to shoot out. You know, we had all sorts of setups. And then one day, we realized you can just play the Needle-In, and they will simply shoot their spines at you indefinitely, and you don't have to worry about keeping them alive or doing anything too fancy. So yeah, a little bit of free time saved. Nobody thought to check for months. Any percent doesn't have Needle-In here, and that's probably the reason that we didn't notice, but still. All right, so that's enough for Drifter's Cloak. Now, to get out of Farfields, we do need to backtrack through that very suspicious boss arena looking thing earlier, but this is where we're going to see the first real power of the Flea Brew. So I will be showcasing that. Let me just put on my Silk Speed anklets. They are going to be allowing us to just sprint on the ground for the absolute fastest movement. This is faster than the pogo dashes that we were doing, and also much nicer on the hands. All right, so fourth chorus there is trying to wake up. And for some reason, the screen is shaking. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm just going to leave. I think it's better to just get out of there, personally. I don't know. Slightly uncertain there.
That boss skip was found like minute 1. It's so satisfying. Just bye-bye, fourth chorus.
Yeah, you do not need to fight fourth chorus. There's actually about 6 different fourth chorus skips that are known. This one is one of the most consistent, which is to use a Flea Brew in order to get a little bit of extra distance. And that is the first Flea Brew skip that we'll be seeing. We're going to be seeing several more throughout the run, though. So definitely stay tuned, including coming up almost immediately. So now that we're out of Farfields, we are heading up to Greymoor with our cloak. So these, these currents here, these float currents, are the reason that we need Drifter's Cloak to go this way. In particular, this last one. You could have used Claw to climb up the walls below this, but that last one absolutely needs Drifter's Cloak. And we do need to be here in order to ring the Greymoor bell. I'm going to be doing a skip here called Craw Pogo, except I accidentally ran off the edge, so hold on 1 second. We're going to just reset that very quickly.
This is every runner's favorite skip in the game.
Oh, absolutely. This crawl is not behaving right now. I'm using a slightly different setup here. Nope. Okay, it's okay. There we go. So that's
First
the old setup. Yeah, absolutely. There is a different setup that I was going for, where you just pogo the left crawl multiple times, but unfortunately it was not behaving. But that's okay. So this skip saves quite a bit of time. It allows us to avoid basically going all around. I need a bit of silk here. Okay. Going all around Craw Lake and doing the Craw Arena, but we also need a flea here, which also requires the Craw Arena. So I'm going to be trying to do a skip here, which is our second flea brew skip, and we got it. Let's go. Not quite out of the woods, because I do need a Craw Pogo there as well, and then I do need to also get over to this wall. Okay, perfect. So that entire sequence of skips allows us to completely skip the Craw Arena. Awoo! And, of course, most importantly, save a
Awoo!
What's
That one
her
is
name?
Rat Leg, $10. Awoo!
Awoo!
Hi, Ratleg. Love you, Ratleg.
We love Ratleg. Ratleg is a Minneapolis resident himself. All right, so with Craw Pogo behind us, we are finally ready to head into Act 2, really. So I'm going to be heading just directly to Last Judge. I do actually need to fight Last Judge in Awoo percent. It might not seem like it, but one of the flea locations is the Grand Gates. So in order to move the fleas to Fleetopia, you do need to clear the way for them. They seem to have the power to kick Morwing out, but unfortunately not the power to kick the Last Judge out. So we do have to fight the Judge, which means that even though we need to go through the mist later in this run, it is better for us to take the Bells route into Act 2. And that is what we'll be doing here. But of course, we have a flea to save along the way. So we're going to be heading into the Wormways for a brief detour before we continue into Blasted Steps. So that's what we'll do now. Wormways is a very annoying area to move through. The enemies are RNG, so they have RNG spawns, and it can be pretty tricky and really just lucky to get through them without being hit. See, that one got in my way, sadly. There's also a spawn here. There it is. I misplayed that. That's okay. We are fine. We're just taking damage. Don't even worry about it. So the Wormways are definitely rough, but luckily in Awoo percent, I don't really need to carry my health. Awoo! Because I'm just here for the flea.
$50 from Nicole says, can we please name a flea mother? But since we already did that, well, I guess the full donation says, please name a flea mother after my mom who says fuck ice. But since we did that earlier, I vote we name this one Nicole.
Incredible.
Amazing. Thanks, Nicole.
We also have chat saying fawook ice, and I think that's good.
That is very good.
Keep the energy coming, chat. This is beautiful. Almost over 50 and a half. I want to see 51. I hunger.
All right, so there was another flea brew skip, and we're not quite done yet. This is Blasted Steps. Blasted Steps, with not a lot of equipment, ends up having a lot of skips. And the one I did there is called BS1 for the first Blasted Step skip. That one is called BS2. And then we've got one more skip there. Beautiful. Okay, so we got all of the Blasted Step skips. I am going to be taking a safety bench here. So there is a fight coming up, Last Judge. Like many of the fights in this game, the boss does deal double damage, so we need to be careful. We only have 5 health. If we die, I would have to redo those skips, and I don't want to do that, so we are simply going to bench here and go and fight the Last Judge.
Yeah, and even with this safety bench, Last Judge has a somewhat infamous run back to the boss, so we're just going to first try Last Judge. It's that simple.
Absolutely. No one has ever died to Last Judge on pace, luckily.
Not once. And no one has ever died to Last Judge after killing Last Judge. Smile.
Certainly not. Yeah, Last Judge is definitely infamous in casual playthroughs, but also in speedruns for being a little bit rough. In particular, she has one of the most dangerous attacks of any boss in any game at all, which is she steps forward slightly. Terrifying, I know. We'll see if we can avoid it, but I can't promise anything here.
I was gonna say, y'all are fighting Last Judge?
All right, so you're going to see a lot of the tech that I talked about earlier with the dash strike into a second slash. There will also be a little bit of tech which is called landing spear cancels. So normally there's a long animation to wind up a silk spear. We can skip that if we cast the Silk Spear right as Hornet is landing. So I'm doing that a few times here. Oops, I got greedy, okay. She's nearly dead. Yeah, there we go. Perfect, okay, so that was Last Judge. Definitely not an easy fight. I haven't really talked about Silk Spear much. That is the Silk skill that we have. It is basically a spell. We are using it a lot for damage. It is 3 times the damage of our needle. But we don't have a lot of needle upgrades. We're only ever going to get 1 in this run. So we do have a number of fights we're going to be doing that will take a little bit of time just because of the level of equipment that we have. But this title screen, if you cannot read Chinese, says Act 2, The Citadel of Song, and we are moving into the second act of the game. We will not be moving...
Silksong reference?
Silk and Song referenced? Does this mean Silksong is coming out?
No, there's no way.
I sure hope so.
Silksong is so cool. I wish it was real. But yes, we're moving into Act 2 here. We will be saving all of the fleas in Act 2. We will not need to move the story forward basically at all. There are not enemies here. I keep forgetting this. In my 100% route when I come through this, there are a lot of enemies here. But don't worry about it. Luckily, because I took that safety bench, I do have a couple of flea brews to use for movement, and they are so much fun to use when you have silk speed anklets. You could see just the speed increase from using both a flea brew and the silk speed anklets. All right, so this is Lace. She does not fight us here. She basically just comes to taunt us and say, get good, and then leave. That is the last we'll be seeing of her. We will not be progressing the main story really much further than this. We're going to simply get access to all of the areas in the game and then go and save the fleas and not inquire further about anything that's happening in this dystopian world.
Just relevant to seeing Lace, we did have $25 from some spicy cheese that says from the Yaoi game to the Yuri game. Let's go. Fuck ice. Trans rights.
Absolutely. When that donation incentive was opened for Sonic's Love Life, I was thinking, you know, absolutely this could have been done for Silksong just as well. Oop, oh my goodness.
GC, write that down. Write that down.
Hey, look, Silksong's got it all, because we've got Doomed Yaoi here, although I don't think we're going to see it in this run. We don't see Convert in this run, do we?
Oh, no, we do, yes.
We do, okay, we got Doomed Yaoi in this run, and we've got Yuri. Silksong is truly a master of all of the important genres.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we have to fight dancers just to get into the Whispering Vaults. So we don't care about the quest that gives us, but we do care about the access. All right, so this is the slab. It is a prison, and we will be breaking a flea out of here later. So chat, you have about something like 40 minutes to decide, or maybe 30 minutes to decide what crimes that flea has committed. So let us know in your donations. Get those in for sure. All right, so the next big segment is going to be progressing through the Citadel. I did take that minor detour to the slab, but now we are moving on and up to the Doomed Yowie in the Cogwork Dancers. We have a couple of fleets to save along the way, and one is right here in this room. So we'll be getting yet another Awoo. Awoo!
That flea is named Fleador. $10 from Anonymous. Can I name a flea Fleador?
Beautiful. We love Fleador. I feel like that's fitting for Fleador as well. All right, and we have another flea coming up in just a moment. So a little bit of movement through the Citadel here. I'm going to... Oops, I did not mean to pogo off that. That's okay. I'm going to be opening up a wind vent. Fun fact about this, a lot of people did not realize that this breakable wall existed with that vent inside of it. So when they came here in their casual, they thought they had to pogo these fans to get up, and that does work. Awoo! But it is not particularly easy when you don't have wings yet, so we just
that most recent flea will be named Zachary20XX with the $300 donation that catapulted us past $50,000 raised earlier. Thank you so much. They say, first of all, fuck ice, and second of all, awoo! And third of all, thank you to everyone who helped put this incredible event on. My heart is so full watching so many people come together for this. Less than 3.
Thank you, Zachary.
Incredible.
It's the Doomed Yowie.
Yeah, the first thing we do is let the Doomed Yowie hurt us. Me for real.
Oops. Okay. Yeah, so we do intentionally take a little bit of damage there. That is a scream skip, and we'll be doing it actually a few times in this run, but with the Doomed Yowie, it is the first time that we see it. It is intentionally taking damage to lock us out of what would be a basically stunned animation while they introduce themselves. There are 4 phases to this fight. 3 that get sort of increasingly difficult, and then a 4th which exists only to break our hearts. So oops. I'll be doing my best not to die before that. Okay, good. I was worried because when they're stacked, you can't tell which one is which. You do actually want to damage only one of them because they do not share a health pool, and they move on to the next phase when one of them dies. But they completely stacked up. So I'm glad that they simply died there, so I didn't have to worry about trying to figure out who was who. All right, this is the sad Doomed Yowie 4th phase. Honestly heartbreaking. One of my favorite fights from my casual playthrough. We will immediately save and quit on beating these because there is a very, very long animation that plays, and we don't want to watch it. So we simply save and quit out, and it skips it. That saves kind of a ridiculous amount of time, something like 15 seconds, I think. So yeah, lovely animations that they've included in Silksong.
I'm sorry, I do just have to say, I did see in the chat Doomed Yowie, and I will never recover from this, so thank you.
Incredible. All right, so we are moving on to Hogwarts Core. I am very good at this game, don't worry about it. This is one of my favorite areas, honestly. It is such a fun little platforming area. There are cycles to everything, which normally is very frustrating, but somehow in Hogwarts Core it becomes interesting. And we just try to make sure that we can make the best of these cycles. Coming up soon will be, I think, the best... from a character design point of view, the best boss in the game, and that is Trobio. We do have to get through this arena before we can get there, but I am very, very excited for Trobio. There we go. I do need to be a little bit careful here because we do have to carry our health all the way through Trobio. Oh, shoot.
While Matt locks in for this, Jess, if you've got any messages for us, now's a great time.
Oh.
While Matt runs back for this, you didn't see anything, chat. Chat, you didn't see anything.
We were just resetting the cycles for the Clockwork Tower.
This doesn't...
Exactly.
Exactly.
I will bring in, we had a $200 donation from Mika, saying, no, I'm not going to insist on a flea named Holanov. Streamer's choice for the Acnid flea, please. Now, I believe the Acnid flea was the one that we named Nicole because Nicole donated to name the flea a name that we already had. So I think this donation does say, Cthulhu, you are welcome to change the flea currently named Nicole if you would like.
We got gamesmanship on this.
Interesting. I will have to think on that, but I think I am legally not allowed to rename the Nicole flea, but we will see. Oh no, that's 2 heals that I've gotten either hit out of or locked into a scream out of. We are gonna heal. Thank you. I chose some inopportune times to heal there. Okay, yeah, so this is the Whispering Vaults arena. It is a little bit tricky, usually not too bad, but we're pretty low power at the moment. So we do have to be a little bit careful. As you saw in the previous attempt, the bell throwers can be a little bit evil. I'll actually heal here. Little bit strange of a... Oh, I miscounted. That's okay. A little bit strange of a decision, but usually that last guy is not too bad. Okay, so this gets us into the Whispering Vaults, and there is a flea here, and actually another flea which will be through a hidden passage, but we don't fully have the movement that we need to get through that yet, so I will actually just be opening some shortcuts and then returning once we have wings. But there is one very important thing that we need to do here, which is fight Trobio, and we are going to do that. So a little bit of movement before we get there. If there's any particular donations that you want to read at the moment, Jess.
Yes, I want to remind everyone that we are raising money for the Immigrant Rapid Response Fund. We are hoping to get the Master Sword in our run after this Legends of Zelda Breath of the Wild. We need 55,000. I'm looking for the number. I remember a zip code.
55401, I got you.
55401, thank you so much. Total, we are so close to $51,000 total raised. I know that we can do it, especially as we go into this flashy Trobio fight. Thank you all so much. I'm saving some of these donations, but we did have $25 sent twice from Anonymous with no comment. Thank you all so much. And reminder that we are taking suggestions for the fleas. So include the word Awoo or your flea name for me to take those in. Some people who have sent in some donations. Otherwise, Nat with $100 that says melt ice, and $25 from Binary Clone with no comment, but thank you all so much.
Thank you all so much for those donations. All right, so we're working on the Trobio fight here. Trobio is an incredible character. I love Trobio, but this fight is a little bit of an RNG fest at times. It can be very tricky, especially when I came in on 2 health as I did. Most damage in this fight is 2 damage, but we did get through it. And here's for the absolute best death sequence of any boss in Silksong.
Wait, Math, do the thing. He gets up too early. What a fake thespian, SMH. If you're a theater kid in the chat, and you would never press 1.
It's one of my favorite details. If you just run off screen slightly, Trobio peeks his head up, tries to, tries to observe the exit of the Hornet, and then when we turn around, realizes that he's in a little bit of trouble. Truly one of my favorite fights in the game. All right, we will be taking a quick safety bench here, but we're moving into the next major movement ability, which is the primary reason that we fought Trobio. Oops. And more importantly, of course, we are going to be saving a flea. Awoo!
Oh.
This flea's name brought to you by a $25 donation from Allergic to Rye that says, "Good luck math and fuck ice, awoo!" I would like to name this one Flea Thulu.
No. Okay. I slightly messed up the cycle here. We will just be going here instead. There we go. Okay. So there are lots of kind of tricky lava cycles in the cauldron here, which is the area that Clawline will be. But luckily we don't have to engage with most of them in Awoo percent, just the one in that room on the way to Clawline. But here's our next major movement ability. And this is not quite the last movement ability, but it does unlock the last movement ability for us. So we'll be using Clawline to go get wings, which is the last thing we'll need for saving all of the fleas. So the run will go from a movement... okay. A movement collection... We can save this.
Free and
That
easy.
was...
Flea
very
easy.
cursed. Flea and easy. Okay. At this point in the run, we're still doing lots and lots of movement collection, but we will be soon getting into a truly flea saving extravaganza, and that is the best part of the run. So I hope you're all as excited as I am, chat. One more arena before we get there, though. Oops. Didn't quite have enough salt. There we go. And luckily this one is fairly scripted. There's a little bit of RNG in what some of the enemies can do, but for the most part we can eliminate that and simply kill all of them basically as they spawn. Oops. All right, and here is my absolute favorite part of the run, and the best use of Flea Brew. So when you have Flea Brew, you can scuttle up a wall much faster, and this is significantly faster than wall jumping. And that is just an absurdly long wall that we just get to scuttle all the way up. The wall dash is a very weird part of the game that not a lot of people engage with casually or in the speedrun sense, but that is probably my favorite use of it there.
It's so silly.
It's incredibly silly. I love some of the movement in this game, and I'm just glad we get to see a pretty wide collection of it in this run. All right, so we're heading to Mount Faye, and Mount Faye is a icy mountain, which means that we're going to have a little bit of a fight on our hands here in this particular marathon. But I'm going to be going for a skip, which is technically not yet legal, but I have some confidence that it will end up allowed, so we're going to go for it here.
Doing leaderboard crimes in the ice zone? Well, I never.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's going to be a pretty difficult skip, and I only get a couple of tries at it, so we will see if I get it. But it's called Cocoon Skip, and if I fail it, you'll understand why it's called that, because we will be backing it up with a Cocoon Skip. But ideally, we will instead just be getting it. Oh, I'm a little low. We got it. Let's go. So that is Cocoon Skip. It saves a significant amount of time. That skips almost all of Mount Faye. Allows us to simply pop right on up to the top area instead of going all the way around. The alternative is we intentionally die there instead, and we use our cocoon from death to pogo and get that height instead of the wall jump. But the wall jump is significantly faster because if you do die there, you need to run all the way back from the bench. And this saves something like 30 to 40 seconds over that. So,
and also is less time in Mount Fay, and both as a person who's played this game and once more for the people in the back, fuck ice.
Fuck ice indeed. Yeah, this run we do not let ice win over us. Oh. All right, so we have a lovely little cutscene here where we meet the pigeon that will give us our double jump ability, the Fay Down Cloak, which we'll call Wings because these are called Monarch Wings in Hollow Knight, and we haven't renamed anything. But we do have a moment here, Jess, if you have anything you would like to share.
Yes, we had a $5 donation from Carl Germ. Says, my uncle works at Hollow Knight, and he told me when Hornet says Shaw, it translates to fuck ice.
That's canon, actually. Shoutouts to Carl Germ's uncle.
I believe Carl Germ's uncle also worked at Sonic earlier.
Yeah, I forget whether it was Nintendo or Sega, but yeah. Good for Carl Germ's uncle.
That is just a very productive uncle. What can I say? All right, so we do have one more thing to do on Mount Fay, and that is to, of course, save a flea. So I will be heading over through the part that we skipped with that cocoon skip to go and save a flea very quickly. But then we'll be done with this area. Awoo! And this one, of course, is the one that's locked inside of the ice. So fuck that ice and fuck ice.
Very fitting, that flea comes with a $150 donation from R2JL that says we should name a flea Winston, Awoo, and fuck ice.
Awoo!
On the subject of names and ice, I do want to briefly shout out. I am from the Chicago area. Chicago has a name the snowplow thing that the city does. Abolish ice is currently in the lead by an absurd amount. So if you're enjoying naming things and you're local, abolish ice the snowplows, please. Let's make it happen.
I saw that, and that is lovely to hear that it is in the lead. Incredible. Shoutouts to Chicago. Oops. Oh my goodness. We are doing so well with our scuttle wall jumps here, but that's okay. So this is the post-wings flea saving spree. So I'm going to be heading back into the Whispering Vaults, which we left a while ago, and doing a bit of cleanup. We're going to be saving the fleas that we have not yet saved. And we will also be going into a secret area, Awoo, that will lead back up to the Citadel. So we'll be doing a little bit of a sweep of the fleas in this half of the map before we resume our world tour of saving all of the remaining fleas. Team Cherry did like to put a lot of these fleas inside of areas that need movement, like that gate that you saw me go through there is a claw line gate. That hard requires claw line for us to actually open. But we also need wings for a lot of the fleas that follow. In particular, one in Wisp Thicket that absolutely hard requires wings, but without wings there is an invisible wall that blocks you from going up there. So even if we got very creative with our skips, Team Cherry wanted to make sure that we have wings for this run. But luckily for us, that does make a lot of the movement quite a lot smoother for a lot of these areas. Hello. And of course,
wait, so we need two names, right?
Yes, so the one that was just right there was another donation, $50 from R2JL that says, my dad suggests Fleave Us Alone, which I feel like is a very fitting name for that flea, for how long it took us to get up there. And the earlier flea, $20 from Soctopus that says, Awoo, and also fuck ice. Massive thank you to the organizers for this event. A little community organizing sure can go a long way. Ice out of everywhere, forever, and a woo again for good measure.
So true. Oh, love you, Octopus.
Amazing.
And you're a flea now.
How could this happen?
It could happen to you, chat. I'm so excited to look at this list.
Reminder, chat, if you donate with Awoo in your message, I am saving those to be naming fleas. So make sure that as you donate, donate, put Awoo in your message if you would like to be named. Or if you would like to name or be named after a flea.
Keep those donations coming in, chat. We broke 50K. We are almost at 51. I believe that we can do that. Maybe in time for the naming of one of the best fleas in many people's books, which is this big flea here. This flea is a little bit confused when he wakes up, but it's okay. We just need to wake him up, get him back in our good graces. Ooh. And now he's all friendly, and we'll be seeing him again later.
Let's go, giant flea.
Do we consider him named now? Because I have a great name for him.
Absolutely.
For $5 from Solthis, officially requesting to name a flea Lil Seth.
That's so good.
That is perfect.
Solthis also wrote that the Mount Fae flea should definitely be named Fuck Ice, Awoo, and love from the math hole community.
Thank you so much for those, Solthis.
It gets said at every marathon, but those who don't know, there is also a boss in this game named Seth. Seth was the name of a Make-A-Wish recipient who met with Team Cherry, who passed away before Silksong came out, and they immortalized him forever as a boss in the game, and we get to do a second round of that, so thank you so much. Also, Lil Seth as the big flea is perfect.
That is so funny, and I love that. Okay, this is fine. We are going to take a safety bench here. So we're heading into what is one of the more notorious areas of the game, which is the putrefied ducts. And the enemies here are pure evil, but they are not actually random. So that still makes them better than biowater, which we'll also unfortunately be seeing. There are a couple of major things that we need to do in this area. One is, of course, save a flea, although in this case, the flea doesn't actually need much saving. The flea in question is Vogue, and I believe that Vogue is completely fine, but we do convince Vogue to go and hang out with the rest of the fleas over at the flea caravan. The other thing that we do here is we visit the Pale Lake, and this location will be very important later. It might be in one of the worst areas, but this place is kind of beautiful, and it will in fact be the ground on which Fleatopia is built at the end of the run. So we have to actually visit here before we can suggest to the fleas that this beautiful location is somewhere that they should settle. But late in the run, we will be coming here, and after the run, we will be coming here to experience the flea games, which do take place here. So very, very important location, but unfortunately hidden among all of this nonsense. We really do hate putrefied ducks.
We do. As Matt mentioned, this flea is already named. There are 2 named fleas out of the 30 that we're saving, so we're kind of running out of fleas. If you want to get some flea names in, donate now. But Vogue is unquestionably the better of the 2 named fleas. We like Vogue. We do not like the other one.
Yes, and Vogue does not Awoo, but we do love Vogue. The other flea, not so much. And yes, these are the 2 named fleas. The big flea, of course, is also one of the unique fleas, but does not actually have a name on their own.
Well, yes, he does. His name is Lil Seth. We just established.
That is true.
There will be a test later.
I need to take better notes. It's okay. I'll rely on yours, Quack.
I got you.
Some other notes I'd like to remind chat of real quick if you've got time.
Yeah, go for it.
I want to remind everyone that we are partnered with Tantrum Merch, and we have t-shirts and hoodies available, where $10 of every merch sale and 25% of any of those amazing stickers that they have as well will go to the Women's Foundation of Minnesota's Immigrant Rapid Response Fund. Sales end February 6th, but place the order now. Could be fun. Type !merch in chat or visit tantrummerch.com/icebreaker.
I got a bunch of stickers from this event.
I don't know, Blue, that I missed. It was. Sorry. That flea's name is Fleetus. It's pronounced Titus. From MNK, $10.
Amazing.
That's extremely funny. I love that.
That's so
This is our jailbreak sequence here. So I've returned to the slab, and there is a flea that is being unjustly held here. And this is the flea. Awoo! So I would love to find out that flea's name, but also their crimes. Under normal circumstances, I believe that they are guilty of arson, which I do, in the case of the fleas, not particularly blame them for. But I believe that today, those are no real crimes being committed by that flea. That flea was completely innocent.
That flea from Lordly Hour, $25, naming a flea, Flevin, parentheses, Flea Kevin. The parenthetical is part of the name.
Excellent. Okay. Some fantastic names coming in here.
Flevin, Flea Kevin did nothing wrong. God,
I absolutely love the creativity. It's so good.
Also, I blinked and we're almost at $51,000. That's ridiculous.
$12 for 51K?
Unbelievable.
All right, so there's a lovely arena here that we will simply not be doing. One of the benefits of having wings is you can just leave. I particularly love this skip. It's another one that wasn't known for a little while, but yeah, it turns out that arena is just completely optional. But we've entered the sort of tour the map and save all of the scattered fleas portion of the run. Some of these are quite well hidden or quite difficult to get to, and the one that we're going to now is the Wisp Thicket flea, and they are certainly no exception. For a number of people, I know that this flea was the last flea that they found with the help of the flea map that VOG sells. It's extremely hidden. It's, first of all, in that hidden area, which is all of Wisp Thicket. Second of all, behind this breakable wall. And then third of all, past these crushers, which just barely got me there. I just missed the cycle, but that's okay. Which proved quite a bit of a challenge. Now, shockingly, these crushers only deal 1 damage. I'm not sure if that was a release patch versus later patches thing, but it is very odd to me given their size. Awoo!
Woo! Leela Lapine, $50. If there's a flea to name, then can we name them Fleela?
Fleela it is. Incredible.
These are great.
All right, so the next area we're going to is...
Oh, that was a quick loop.
Oh, yes.
Sif Moonweaver, $25. Awoo! Fuck, guys. Thanks to the runners and organizers for doing this.
So the name is Sif
All right.
Moonweaver?
Yeah.
Cool.
We have one more flea here, but this one does not get an Awoo.
This one does not get anything. He will get nothing.
Fuck Krat. But yeah, the next area is easily one of the hardest portions of the run, and also what most casual players would describe as traumatizing. We're heading into Bilewater. We have to get there through Sinner's Road with the help of Timothy Chalamet here, who will hopefully be nice. Thank you, Timothy. And we have one flea to save in Sinner's Road, and then a few to save in Biowater. So Team Cherry was rather rude when they designed Biowater. They put multiple fleas there against everyone's wishes and intentions. But hopefully we will find our way through. It is easily one of the harder portions of the run. We do still only have 5 health. Awoo. That is a dangerous awoo.
We have some options here because Lordly Hour did donate another $15 saying they forgot the awoo in the naming awoo, which is fine. You just need to indicate that it is in naming. But they said, oh, oops, forgot my naming awoo. How careless of me. Official request to name a flea, Flevin, parentheses, Flea Kevin, parentheses, the parenthetical is part of the name, and I do like the idea.
Yup.
Amazing.
Thank you so much for your generosity.
We'll work on like an acronym or something for that. It'll be fun.
Oh,
$12 from Jim Jam. That's a Jim Jam flea. He was in a Jim Jam.
I mean, Biowater is one hell of a Jim Jam.
Absolutely in a Jim Jam. That flea was surrounded by snitch flies who are trying to steal his money. But luckily we do save him. Okay, Biowater actually being very nice to me for once, which means the mist is probably going to be evil to me. But that's okay. So this portion of the run is definitely one of the more difficult parts, but luckily because we don't have to actually fight Grohl, it's not as bad as the general casual experience here. But we do have to go through the mist, and I alluded to this area earlier. This is one of the ways that you can get to the Citadel. And get into Act 2. We had to go through Last Judge in order to get the fleas to Fleetopia eventually. But there is also a flea at the end of the mist. So I do need to go through here. If you're not familiar with the mist, the way that it works is you have to play the needle in for these butterflies that appear throughout the rooms. The room that you get is random. So there are 8 possible rooms to choose from. And the proper exit from that room is also random, although I did get very lucky here in that the third exit has to be a horizontal, and I got the one room that has only a single horizontal from a bottom entrance, so maybe the mist is being nice to me. There's a little bit of tech that, unfortunately, I cannot use in this run, which is called juggling. Goodness, these wraiths are being very, very mean, but that's okay. So normally, if you're familiar with Silksong speedruns that go through the mist, like release patch any %, you can actually reload a room that you just came through and redo that room instead of doing the room that you just stepped into. That got patched out, and I am running on latest patch, so I was not able to do that. But we did get a pretty lucky mist anyway, so luckily we got through. And I can move on through the exhaust organ and go get that flea.
And to be clear, if none of that made any sense to you, that's okay. Multiple speedrunners have written dissertations on the mist. It is truly one of the most complicated areas in a video game. For like doing the whole maze thing, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, 1 minute is not long enough to explain it. Awoo! But it is long enough to awoo.
$25 from Carl Germ says, Awoo! I think we should name a flea after one of the members of the band Red Hot Chili Peppers, but which member? Let's go with John Frusciante.
Incredible.
Perfect.
All right, so we may be done with Biowater, but Biowater is not done with us. There is one more flea to save here, and it is the hardest one to get to yet. This is the Biowater Trap Flea, and it is on the path to Grohl. We luckily don't have to actually fight Grohl, but we do need to save the flea. So I will be doing my best to move through this area and get up to where the flea is trapped. They are one that I sometimes wonder how exactly did they get themselves trapped here. Some of the fleas, I know what happened. You know, some of the fleas, one is just calmly resting above a nice heated area in the lava pools. You know, that's understandable. Oh no.
Survive my gauntlet.
Please. Thank you. That's not good.
Survive my gauntlet.
It's okay, it's okay. It's a little bit sketchy. Okay, we're good. We're fine. Oh,
Easy.
Never worried.
never worried. It's completely fine.
$10. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
$10 from Darkest Daybreak. Can we name one of the Bilewater fleas Chris in honor of Christopher Larkin for giving Bilewater one redeeming quality? Awoo and Fuck Ice.
True.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you can see why I wonder how on earth did that flea end up there. But luckily they are now saved, and we move from Bilewater to somehow the hardest part of the run. We are heading down into the lower part of Deep Docks, and we're going to go do an arena. This arena is notorious. It is probably one of the hardest arenas in the game. I wouldn't say the hardest when the likes of High Hall's arena exist, but for being only a few waves long, it is shockingly difficult, and most of that comes down to low visibility. So you can see the top of the arena is slightly shadowed. It gets significantly worse when certain enemies explode, which does happen quite a lot in this arena. So I'm going to be trying to focus slightly here. So it would be a good time for any messages or donations.
Yeah, of course, I want to remind everyone that you're watching ICEBreaker, which is a rapid response fundraising marathon benefiting the Women's Foundation of Minnesota's Immigrant Rapid Response Fund. We are live for just a little bit longer this run and the next, but we are coming together as a community in solidarity with those on the streets of the Twin Cities during ICE's occupation of Minnesota. Use !donate in chat. To donate, include a woo or a flea name in your message if you would like to name a flea, like Riley Page did with a $10 donation that says, Awoo! I will put forward Jeff Flea for a flea name if it has not already happened. Fuck Ice.
Perfect.
Jeff Flea is very good. All right, so we're through that arena. Like I said, oddly one of the harder parts of the run, and you can kind of see why once the explosives started going off. So happy to be out of that without a death, and we will be now climbing up here into one of the frequently missed fleas as well. Oh. That one is actually not particularly hard to reach. You only need Cling Grip and Drifter's Cloak, which are both pretty early game abilities, but they're just hidden under the Bellway, and a lot of players, myself included, completely miss them in their casual playthrough. So one of the final fleas for many, many people.
That one was named by Ikuyo with a $25 donation. Awoo! Thank you everyone for putting this together. Let's name one of them Fleamathy.
Fleamathy. Incredible.
We got all the good flea puns. It's happening. Y'all are crushing it.
Yes. We get one more unskippable cutscene here. There will be a third and final unskippable cutscene soon, but you can see the big flea has now joined the caravan. It's beautiful.
So precious.
We love the big flea. I believe there are only 2 fleas left to save as a warning. So I'm not sure where we stand on the number of fleas left to be named, but
Explicitly, I will tell chat right now, if there are 2 fleas left, I do not have 2 donations that have flea names in here. So if the next 2 people to donate give me flea names.
There you go, chat. You heard it there.
Come on, chat. We're pushing our way up to 55401 for our friends in Minneapolis. Y'all have been doing nothing but amazing on the flea names. I want to see some nonsense.
All right, so we have our last boss of the run here, which are the Great Conch Flies, and I did do a screen skip there. Like I mentioned earlier with the dancers, that is intended to get control during the initial scream. Unfortunately, it does deal 2 damage, and we do kind of have to carry this health. So I am playing also a little bit careful, but that scream skip saves a fair bit of time because we get to start damaging the bosses a little bit earlier, and as you can see, the fight is already done. With a little more damage in other categories, that scream skip can literally instantly end the fight before they even start. Also, clearly one of the fleas.
That's a legally distinct Awoo. It's not the same.
But yeah, in this category, we don't have a ton of damage, so I was not trying to dash that direction. It's okay. 2
Don't worry,
HP
chat.
is not
He would
ideal.
never die to Sands of Karak. He would
Absolutely never. Okay, like I said, I do have to carry my health here, so I'm gonna try to be a little careful. Unfortunately, we do use most of the silk that we get, but luckily we don't have to go that deep into Sands of Karak. We're just coming here for a couple of fleas, and surely that will not end poorly. Sands of Karak is definitely one of the more difficult platforming sections. It's an intentionally fairly hidden area. So you usually get here fairly late game. We, of course, don't have very much in the way of damage, but we do have all of the movement necessary to get here. So we're about to save our second to last flea. Awoo!
$10 from Tater Dash. Hooked on a fleeling.
Incredible. All right, and there I did just a little bit of a skip to get to the last flea. Awoo!
Awoo!
$25 from Rav. Awoo! Requesting a flea to be named Stefan after Stefano Circaday, a family of fleas. Awoo! And fuck ice.
Amazing. And that is all of our flea names. We have reached the end of the run. We do get one more flea cutscene, which we get to enjoy here. Get to sit back and relax and watch the increasingly full caravan of fleas. Big flea in the background. Always good to notice. And then we will pick up the egg of Flelia from Mushka, the Flea Master. And that will be the end of the run. So time is coming up in a few seconds here. We do have to talk to him one more time after this conversation. And this is time. All right. So this is the reward for saving all of our fleas, and we can see them all in the background there. You can play the needle in for them, and they sing along. It's absolutely adorable. But of course, we're not quite done yet, because before the run even started, we did meet the incentive to showcase the flea games. So I'm actually going to be switching save files here. Unfortunately, it takes a little bit too much to unlock the flea games in a single run, but I will instead be loading a file which has been prepared. We won't talk too much about the details here or the fact that there are little adorable babies there. Don't worry about it. But I will be heading down to go and experience the flea games, which I am so excited to showcase. They are so cute.
While you run there, I would like to shout out some other names that we did come in Didn't quite beat the beater buzzer. We only have 30 fleas to save. There are more cute original Hollow Knight save like 43 grubs, start naming grubs or something. But we had $10 from Jim Jam. Awoo, did we do Getty Flea yet? $13 from Non-Binary Code. Awoo, I've been trying to reach you about your car's limited Warren Flea. Fuck Ice. Manager sent in $10. Sands of Carrick Flea named Sandy Flea, but then parentheses cheeks like the SpongeBob character, and then Sunev $5. Awoo, donating to name a flea Nike for the goddess of victory.
Amazing. Excellent names.
Y'all are great.
All right. So this, we can see Mushka in what appears to be a very dire situation. Everything seems quite bad. This is just Team Cherry pulling one over on us once again. I was so worried when I came here. If you know what happens to the grubs in Hollow Knight, you know. When I came here in my casual, I was so concerned. But actually, we are beginning a festival. This is the Flea Festival, and there are 3 mini games that I'm going to be showcasing here today. So the first up is Flea Juggle, and that is what we're going to begin now.
Good luck, Matt.
Thank you. The goal of Flea Juggle is to keep fleas in the air, and of course, safety first. Every single one of the fleas wears a helmet during all of the flea games. It is such a fun little detail that I absolutely adore. Also, the biggest crime of all is that this particular track that you can hear playing in the background right now does not appear on the OST. I don't know why, and I am personally offended, but it's okay. So for the most part with Flea Juggle, what I'm trying to do is stay on the ground and get underneath the fleas and upslash them. A lot of people really struggle with Flea Juggle, especially at first. And one of the things that people do that make it harder on themselves is they jump into the air to go hit the fleas. I did this. I was guilty of this. It makes it much harder. I wouldn't recommend it. But all of these fleas we need to hit 3 times, except for Grishkin here, who we need to hit 4 times. And the target number to win this particular flea game is 32, I believe. We'll see the number in the bottom left turn gold when we've hit the appropriate number. It's either 31 or 32. There is also a sound effect that will play. You can see that the juggling is getting harder. The number of fleas is increasing. There is actually a cap, though, and it's right here. So at 4 fleas, that is the hardest that it gets. So it continues at this difficulty forever after. And I won't keep going because we'll be here all night. You can intentionally end the game by just stepping off to the side there. But that was a high enough score to move on. You can check the leaderboards here. So yeah, 31 is good enough. Dodge is the next game we're going to be playing, and the score to beat here is 65.
Dodge, my beloved.
This minigame is so difficult, and I am so bad at it. People tend to fall into one of 2 camps, which is that the juggle, which I just did, is hard, or that dodge is hard. And I am definitely in the dodge is hard camp. I am not good at this minigame, so we are going to see just how many tries it takes me to beat the 65 necessary. You do need to do these games to get 100% completion in Silksong, and I do speedrun 100%. I have lost so much time in 100% speedruns to flea dodge. It is so easy for things to go wrong here, but no one ever claimed that Silksong was an easy game. As you can see, these platforms are disappearing. There's fleas. Oh, no, skill issue. No, I'm falling. I jumped when I shouldn't have jumped. So unfortunately, sometimes you can recover from your mistakes, but often a single mistake will lead to your downfall with flea dodge, which is one of the things that makes it quite difficult at times. The score to beat is 65. The score in this case is not the number of fleas that we've dodged, it is the amount of time that we've been on the platforms. That is just counted in seconds, so we need to survive for a little more than a minute in order to get the high score here. Now, there is another set of high scores that I'm not attempting to beat today, which are Seth's scores. So we talked a little bit about Seth. Seth does appear as a boss in the game, but Seth also, and more terrifyingly, appears as the absolute gamer that owns the entire leaderboard in the flea games. So Seth will show up and just absolutely clown on you with all of your flea game scores. And it is very, very difficult to, to beat Seth's scores. Okay.
Easy. We're good.
We did get past the 65 required for dodge. Dodge is my absolute nemesis in this game, but it is still a lot of fun. The fleas are cute enough to at least somewhat soften the blow when things go poorly. All right, and third and final minigame here is Flea Bounce. Most people find this minigame to be the easiest of them, but it is another one where a single mistake can kill your run. But the goal of this one is to just hang in the air as long as possible. And in order to do that, you can pogo the fleas. And again, of course, they're all wearing safety helmets, so all of the fleas are nice and safe. Don't worry about that. But we need to pogo, I believe, 42 fleas in order to get the high score here. This one can be a lot harder depending on which crest you try to play with. So you may notice that right now my pogo is a typical downward attack, whereas during the entire Awoo percent run, it was a diagonal pogo. That's because I'm using the Wanderer's Crest on this file, which I think is much easier for most of the games. The Hunter's Crest is another option, and it makes the game much harder. So yeah, that's all three games. As you can see, we just barely beat the scores on all of them, so we can come and talk to Mushka again. Your reward for beating all of the minigames is a pinata, which gives all sorts of rosaries and shell shards, just tons of money. It's lovely, it's wonderful, and it's also completely random how much money is in here, which is infuriating for routing 100% speedruns. And of course, you get your pale oil, which will grant you another needle upgrade. But yeah, those are the flea games. Even after you win them, you can go back and play them as much as you want. Some people have amassed absolutely ridiculous high scores in these games, but I personally tend to stop at the at just the victory level. All right,
Easy,
so that is it. Thank you. So yeah, I just for some final words, I just want to thank all the organizers and of course all of the runners and hosts and tech and everybody that has put this marathon together. Absolutely incredible. And thank you all for your donations throughout the course of this run. Absolutely incredible pouring of support here. And some wonderful flea names that I will have to get that full list and implement them into my Awoo percent splits here. But yes, thanks again, Quack, for being on the mic. Thanks, Jess, for hosting, and of course everyone involved with the fundraiser.
Thank you all so much for that. So many fleas and also the amazing flea games. It looks like we are potentially going to get some ads here in a second, so go ahead, take a real quick stretch, and we'll be back with more marathon right after this.